has arrived.
Bitch.
You know a movie is bad when, despite it starring an Oscar winner and Samuel L. Jackson, it is rated worse than a show for little kids.
Fucking whoops.
I know very well what you are all thinking.
But BL. Unicorn Store is 7 years old and MLP finished 5 years ago. What's the point in reviewing something not recent, not to mention comparing it to a material so vastly different?
Well, first of all, many of my videos are about comics or art that are much older than Unicorn Store itself. Lil Miss Rarity comics, in particular, are at least 12 years old, so yeah. I'm sure you'll survive a review about a 7-year-old movie. Second of all, despite the appearances, Unicorn Store and MLP's Flutter Brutter have much more in common than meets the eye. For example, an adult child who refuses to grow up and mooches off of the goodwill of their kind-hearted though enabling parents. The only closest one to them who is willing to not treat them with kiddie gloves. And a semi-romantic interest.
I may vomit.
The literal embodiment of a unicorn, and cold hard reality knocking on the adult child's door. You see what I mean? Sure, there might be some differences and have the same overall message. But ultimately, only one manages to sell it well.
Not bad.
And the other is just pile of shit.
Oh no. Even you make it better than this.
And that's what we'll be discussing today. So sit down, grab a snack, your favorite beverage, and let's get this started. We begin with a short montage of our protagonists, Kit, childhood, that then transitions into her adult self. Painting modern art. The professors don't share her enthusiasm and thus she is failed. Okay, I know this is only the start of the movie, but there's already so much that needs to be addressed in this intro. For instance, the way the scene is set up, from Kit's introduction, to the transition to her adulthood. Painting in front of the professors is clearly done so that we, the audience, would sympathize with our protagonist. And the problem is, I just don't like at all. Just from this shot alone you can tell why Kit did not pass her exam. Number 1, out of everyone she was the last to finish, and from the way this guy is leaning she was clearly taking her sweet time. In exams like these there is always a time limit, and she breached it. So regardless of how good the painting would be, they would still dock points for that. Number 2, look at that mess. The wall doesn't ever have splatters, it looks like it was painted over on purpose. Bitch created a whole ass new canvas. I don't get what the point even was. It's not like she was making a splatter art, she was just brushing and painting the background. Another docked points. Number 3. And the most important reason why Kit didn't pass her test. She didn't follow the exercise that was given to them. And she has the audacity to be shocked by this. Everyone else understood the assignment, except you. You know what? No. She understood, she's not stupid. She willfully ignored it. How do I know this? Well, we'll get to that later. First, let's look at Flutter Brutter and their introduction.
Nope.
The episode starts with Fluttershy visiting her parents with Rainbow at their place. However, her parents didn't invite her just for a cup of tea, but to tell her something exciting.
Oh no, not again. It's just for a little while, dear, till he gets back on his hooves.
Wait, you don't mean...
That's right, Big Sis. It's your one and only favorite little brother, moi.
Notice the difference in the introduction of these two characters. On one hand we have Kit, portrayed as this innocent girl filled with wonder and joy, who no one understands.
People don't like it when I do that.
When in reality, She's a soon-to-be 30-year-old acting like a child. Zephyr, on the other hand, doesn't get such treatment from the writers. Instead, the sympathy goes for everyone around him. Much like Kit, Zephyr considers himself to be an artist, just with hair. And just like Kit, he also failed to deliver a product, despite also having to follow one of said examples, because
I've got my own style.
But unlike Kit, you're not expected to feel bad or see him as some misunderstood genius. Writers are well aware that how he is behaving, what he is doing is wrong. And it needs to be fixed. From the movie's title you could guess what it was about. It's about buying and getting a real-life unicorn. After moving in back with her parents, Kit receives an invitation to the store. There she meets the salesman, who offers to make her dream of owning a unicorn a reality.
When I was a kid, I asked my parents for a unicorn. It was the only thing I ever wanted.
I know.
Well, no fucking shit.
But only under certain conditions.
There are certain requirements. You have to be the right sort of girl.
You must first build a home worthy of your unicorn.
How to feed your unicorn in body and mind. And proof of financial responsibility.
Do you have enough love in your life for this unicorn? Do you have a nurturing family environment? Will your unicorn live in a happy home with a well-developed support system?
And when I heard these three conditions I thought, okay, they clearly have a deeper meaning. Think about it, a worthy home, a healthy body and mind, financial responsibilities, and a loving support group. It sounds more like a how to be an adult, rather than simply being a manual on how to take care of a magical horse. It's like when a parent promises to give his child her toys back, but only when she'll clean up her room. Pretty decent, right? Except, if that was the case, this video wouldn't exist. No, unicorn is far more complicated and too simplistic at the same time for its own good.
I didn't hear you.
MLP, on the other hand, does not mess around.
Zephyr, breeze!
After seeing how little Zephyr appreciates everything his parents do for him, Fluttershy finally convinces them to kick him out.
But Zephyr will never stand on his own if he can lean on you.
And have him look for someplace else. Problem being though,
Hey, sis!
Fluttershy is his next place.
Okay, maybe like 70%.
Fluttershy, being his good sister, allows him to stay. But
You have to get a job.
no fucking around, no throwing around some maybe, not actual metaphors in hopes the adult character understands. None of that. Just a simple, you're a childish leech. Get a job or kick rocks. Now, to be fair to Kit, she didn't have to be forced to look for a job, unlike Zephyr. She looks for and finds a job all by herself.
And I've taken a temporary position at a public relations firm.
I'll give her that at least. Fluttershy is the one who helps him find and get a job. Cause let's be honest, Zephyr would never go look for a job in the first place. In fact, she finds him 3 different jobs. These basically are his trials to adulthood, and he screws them all up. Since he didn't keep his end of the deal, Fluttershy does as she promised at the start.
Fine.
Now let's look back how Kit is doing. Since the first step is to create a home, she goes to the hardware store where she meets Virgil, who she hires to help her build the stable. As they spend their time together, they begin to grow closer.
That's good.
Back at her work, her boss gives her an opportunity to present a vacuum cleaner marketing pitch.
That's good.
And during the weekend, Kit goes on an emotion quest wilderness trip with her parents to fix their broken relationship.
That's good.
It does sound good, doesn't it? How well did it all go for Kit then? On the emotion quest wilderness trip, Kit decides to tell her parents what she's been up to,
I'm getting a unicorn.
which turns into an argument, furthering the tensions between them.
That's bad.
Her presentation ends just like her art exam, in a failure.
That's bad.
On top of all that, she takes her anger from her failures out on Virgil.
That's bad.
Pretty damn bad. But hey, Now that she's been humbled like our boy Zephyr, we'll get the arc of her finally getting her shit together. Right?
Right? Spike?
She earns the unicorn anyway, and her relationship problems are conveniently taken care of with simple sorries.
What?
What's the point then? What's supposed to be the message? Speaking of. One particular thing that really bugged me about Flutter Brutter is when Fluttershy and Rainbow go and look for Zephyr. Once they find him, she and him have a heart-to-heart, and Zephyr finally opens up.
Zephyr, you're smart and talented. You could do anything if you just tried.
And what if I give everything I have and still fail? Honestly, I think it's better not to try at all.
So the whole reason for him screwing his jobs is because of fear of failure? And the way no one, not even Rainbow, is surprised by this information baffles me even more. Like it was supposed to be obvious from the start. When clearly it wasn't. At first I thought he's like Kit, much like her, he has his own style. He thinks his ideas are not only good, but even better than what was requested. And if you think otherwise, you just don't understand his style. I especially thought that was it with his first job at Rarities. Once he's left alone to dye the fabrics, he notices Opal dip her paw in the color and then shake it onto the fabric. Look at this face. That face means, what a great idea. When the girls come back, he has no look of shame or discomfort on his face throughout the entire thing, and when he's called out.
Wow. I guess I know when my efforts aren't appreciated.
Then when the second job came along, I thought, okay, he's just lazy. Every time getting a job,
You have to get a job.
You said you were taking me to tea with the princess.
Actually, I said I was going to tea with the princess. You're going to work.
before moving out was even mentioned, he started sweating, stuttering and making excuses. So, when he got a job of washing windows and he refused to do that, and they didn't even show what he had to do with Rainbow, only the aftermath and him complaining.
She expects me to do stuff right when she asks me to do it! It's insane!
I thought he'd go as far as to sabotage himself just so he could stay back home and do fuck all. But fear of failure? Never, not even once crossed my mind. Only during the finale's song, does he actually act like someone who's afraid to fail. If only they would have shown anything remotely as similar in his previous jobs. And no. Having blink and you'll miss reactions that can easily be misinterpreted based on then current giving context, do not count. Now, don't get it twisted. This doesn't take away from the enjoyment of the episode or the message it gives. It does a lot better job than Unicorn Store, that's for certain. What about Kit then? She doesn't like to fail either, however when she is assigned to do something she will do it herself. Zephyr is a quitter, Kit is a failure. Problem is though, she will do it her way. Take the vacuum presentation for instance.
Lipstick back! It's in the name. And whoops!
She did the same mistake she made at her art exam. All she listened to was, make a painting. And the rest was a blur. In this case it was, make a vacuum presentation. And she just went from there. Everything else be damned.
Well, this is not a vacuum for your house. This is a vacuum for your soul.
You work at a goddamn PR agency. What kind of a vacuum do you think was expected of you? Also, she didn't really do anything unique with the vacuum itself anyway. Outside of badly gluing some glitter on it and have it vomit rainbow trash, it's nothing special. Absolutely worth fucking losing your job over it.
Well, every person alive has a dream. Everybody needs some magic in their lives.
You mean, your dreams? Everything you presented and shown to us was everything you dream about, and everything you want. Not one single thought what the other person wants. Think of it like this. You go to a cafe and order yourself a nice cafe latte. Only for the server to bring you a unicorn frappuccino. Sure, there's more of it, it's pretty and colorful, But that's not what you ordered and sure as hell not what you'll pay for. It doesn't matter that you consider what the customer wanted as too simple and boring, and the other as more creative. If you do not deliver what the customer wanted, you're not getting paid, and very likely avoided by people. Zephyr's cocky arrogance is just a mask to hide his fears. Kit's mask, however, is that of an innocent klutz, while her true face is of an arrogant snob.
I have a vacuum presentation that I should be working on right now, but instead I've been here with you.
And this unicorn is gonna love all of my energies, and if she doesn't, then she can just go back to her sad little forest, okay?
Dinner's ready!
I order pizza!
Sorry, that's my mom. She's just super annoying.
She's super annoying because she wants to make you dinner.
Oh, you don't like coffee.
That was just old Kit, and she didn't try hard enough to like things that are disgusting. It's these dudes that I just tiptoe around because I think that they know so many things. They don't. I know things. Oh, I'm glad that you think so, but whatever you were doing out of pity/obligation, it's obviously over.
While she does get called out on it.
Jeez, Louie! You think everything in this store is for you?
Well, you kind of said it was.
Did you ever think that maybe I actually like you?
No, you're confused.
You're confused.
Do you want a puppy?
But none of it really matters or counts. Even after the way she behaved, all the things she said and everything she didn't do. A little sorry is all that it takes for everything to be just fine.
Angel.
She didn't even build or at least help build the stable.
Ta-da.
It's an art show of my life.
And it's not even for the unicorn, but for herself.
Ta-da.
And she still gets the unicorn.
Ta-da.
But wait! There's more!
She gets it, but chooses to give it up because, and I shit you not.
And don't let her go searching for people that can't see who she really is. You were gonna be there for her. You're gonna love her exactly how she is. Even when she thinks that there is nobody who could love her in the whole world.
Don't judge me. God, who would ever do this? Wow, look at this guy. Look at how lame he is. Don't judge me.
She didn't need to change anything about herself, she just needed to accept herself as she is. Please ignore the obvious contradictions and clear facts within the story that prove otherwise. It's the world that needs to change, not Kit. Give a man a fish, and you'll feed him for a day. Teach a man how to fish, and you'll feed him for a lifetime. And I don't think it has been shown more beautifully than with Zephyr. Thanks to the push his sister gave him, and also shown him that she hasn't given up on him, he is motivated to finish something, by himself even, including...
Guess who graduated from main therapy training?
He has finally something in his hands, that he can call his own. He is making progress to being self-reliant and less dependent on others. The same thing can't be said about Kit. It seems like she got a happy ending, but in reality, she's just extending her denial period. Her parents and new boyfriend are no better. Cause them not pushing her to change, or telling her the facts only harm her in the long run.
What is she gonna do once one of her parents gets really ill? Or better, what about when they'll both be gone? And her relationship with Virgil is not gonna last long. Sure, he backed away, once, but that was mostly because he felt bad for her. How many times can you count on that before he'll get tired of you and kicks you to the curb? Ultimately, one learned how to fish for himself, and the other continues to depend on others for the fish.